Chapter 21, Bestowing Grace. I bow down Sri Ganesh, I bow down Sri Saraswati, I bow down the Guru, I bow down the family dignity, I bow down Sri Sita Ramchandra, I bow down Sri Sadguru Sai Nath. At the end of the last chapter, we mentioned about how Thakur and others had darshan of a great person. Listen to the story attentively now. Wasted are the words of a speaker if by listening to them a listener is not affected and does not show the sign that he is overwhelmed with emotions and gets goose pimples. A narration is worthless if the listeners are not in an ecstasy, not choked with emotions, and if their eyes are not filled with tears of happiness. Baba's speech was captivating, his style of teaching exceptionally good, his arguments were unique. I lay my head at his feet, who revealed something new at every step. One can never be able to meet a holy man till fortune smiles on him. Even if such a person is very close, a sinful person is unable to discover him. There is no need to go far to find proof of this examen because I am going to tell you about my own experience. There was a famous saint called Pir Maulana who was residing at Bandra. Hindus, Parsis, and learned men from other religions used to come to take the darshan of that pure soul. I was a magistrate at that place. His Majawal by the name and us tried indefatigably to pursue me to come for darshan. Those of thousands of people come there. Why should I go there on account of the pleasure and spoil my name? On account of pressure and spoil my name. Some such thoughts came to me, and I never went for the darshan. I was, as it were, afraid of my own shadow, and somehow ill luck came in the way. Many years passed. Thereafter, I was transferred from there. Later, when the portion time came, I became attached to Shirdi for all time. In short, the unfortunate can never reach the vicinity of the saints. This most difficult of meetings can be accomplished only by God's grace. Now listen to a pleasing story about this. There are, from times unknown, such secret arrangements as saints, and they go on carrying their mission, while the world is unaware of it. As time flows, the saints choose a place of their liking and appear in human form to fulfill some mission. But in reality, they are not different from one another. The place, time, person, though different, a saint realizes the essence of the personality of other saints. They are all united inwardly, and as they are only one. Like the outpost of an emperor situated at different places with officers in charge to look after the population and its prosperity. Similarly, the emperor of boundless happiness manifests at different places and controls the invisible reins of his own empire. Once, a certain gentleman who had the privilege of an education in English, holding a Bachelor of Arts degree, climbed step by step and became a big officer. Later on, he became a mamledar and then rose to an assistant collector. Because of good fortune, he came in contact with Sai Baba. Outwardly, these posts look very attractive, like mountains from distance, but if you go near to them, they are found surrounded by trees which give an edge, but at the same time, these posts command high prestige. Those pleasant days are long past when people used to crave for such posts. The general public to honor the officers, and mutually they were very happy. Let us now talk about present conditions. Gone are those days when it was nice to be in government service. Now the responsibilities have increased and the emoluments are insufficient. The olden times, the Mamledar was respected and the collector was honored, but the grandeur is no more, though one works hard. Be it so. After all, by spending a lot of money on education and after studying very hard, one was able to acquire these high posts. First of all, one had to pass the Bachelor of Arts degree, then become a clerk in the government office, earn a monthly salary of rupees 30. In this manner, one had to go on for some time. During the course of time, he had to go to the ghats, learn the survivors' work, and live amongst them, measure lands, and pass departmental examinations. Later on, if a higher official in the service died, leaving his position vacant, then he would be able to get that post. Enough of this lengthy and uninteresting narration. Why should I go on prattling about it unnecessarily? Listen to that story about how such a person met Sai.
Near Belgaum, there is a town called Vatgao. A team of surveyors had camped there. In this town, there was a saint staying there. They went to take his darshan, bowed their heads at his feet, and received his blessings. That holy person was holding a book called Vichar Sagar by Nishal Das, which he was reading to them. After a while, when these people started to take his leave, the saint spoke to that particular gentleman with great delight. Listen to that. You may leave now, but be sure to read this book, by which your wishes will come true. Bear this in mind. Later on in the course of your work, when you go towards the north, because of your good fortune, you will have the darshan of a great man on the way. He will show you the path further on and will grant you peace of mind. He will give you advice and impress upon you the knowledge of the self. The work there was completed and he was transferred to Jannar. On the way to Jannar, he had to cross the Nangad, which was a big obstacle. The road was very formidable and could be only traversed on back of a he buffalo, which was the only means of transport, so buffalo was brought for him to ride on. Later on, the man may become a senior official and may get horses and carriages, but presently he had to satisfy himself with a buffalo. There was no choice. It was impossible to climb the ghat on foot. There was no other convenient transport. Such was the specialty of the Nan Ghat. Thus the conveyance was really unusual. So he took the decision, and a buffalo was made ready. He was saddled, and with great difficulty he mounted on it. Though he did mount it, there was a steep climb. The vehicle being of all things the buffalo, he was reduced to swinging, and he developed a pain in the back. So be it. The journey ended. The Jannar mission was completed. He got transfer order and he moved from there. He was transferred to Kalyan, where he made the acquaintance of Chandorkar and heard of Sainath's fame. A desire rose to have his darshan. That chance came the very next day, because Chandorkar was planning a trip to Shirdi. He said to him, "Accompany me on this pilgrimage to Shirdi. Let us take Baba's darshan." Both of us could bow down to him, stay there for a day or two, and return to Kalyan. But on that very day, in the civil court in Thane, a case was scheduled for hearing. Therefore, he had to give up the trip in his company. Nana Sahib coaxed him, "Come along, Baba is great. He will fulfill your desire for darshan. The case is a tribal matter." But how could he be convinced? He was afraid of missing the date for the hearing. How could he avoid these futile visits which heaven had destined for him? Nana Sahib Chandorkar told him of previous experiences of other people, about how their desire for darshan was always fulfilled and the difficulties warded off. But he could not bring himself to believe. He could not help his own nature. He said, "First let the worry get off my mind. Let the suit get over fast." So be it. He then proceeded to Thane while Chandorkar left for Shirdi. When he returned after the darshan, something wonderful had happened there. Here, though he was present at the appointed time, the case was postponed. He had also missed going along with Chandorkar, and thus he was full of regrets. He wished that he had believed in him. Chandorkar could have taken him along with himself, and he would have had darshan peacefully at Shirdi. The case remained where it was, and he had lost the chance to see a saint. Therefore, on the spur of the moment, he decided to go to Shirdi. He thought that perhaps when he reached Shirdi, if he was lucky, he would be able to meet Nana, and he would take him to Sainath personally. Then he would be very happy. "I do not know anybody in Shirdi. I will be complete stranger there. If I meet Nana, it will be beneficial to me, though it is a remote possibility." Thinking thus, he boarded the train and reached Shirdi the next day. Of course, Nana was not there. The day he left for his trip was the day when Nana had left Shirdi. By this he was disheartened and felt great disappointment. So be it. He met another friend, a nice man who took him for Sai's darshan and fulfilled his wish. The moment he set his eyes on him, he was overwhelmed with faith, and he prostrated himself. The hairs on his whole body stood on end, and tears of love flowed from his eyes. While he was thus standing, hear carefully what Baba said to him with a smile of understanding, as he was only sin. The path of this place is not so easy as the teaching of the Kanarasi, Appa, or even as the buffalo ride in the Ghats. There is no alternative but to put in your best exertion. When he heard these significant words, he was overwhelmed with emotions and realized the words of the holy man who he had met previously had proved correct. Then he folded his hands together and put his head at the feet of Sai. He said, "Have mercy on me, Sainath. Accept me, an orphan, at your feet. You alone are my great saint and guardian. Today, I have fully understood the teachings in the book of Nishal with all its significance and divine meaning. Where is Vadga and where is Shirdi? What a union of spirits of the great saints! How brief yet enlightening is their speech. What a magnificent method of instruction. One advised reading a book and predicted a meeting with a great saint who would give Upadesh and advise further growth. By grace of God, he has been met, and he had indicated that he is the concerned person by significant words. The book has been read, but now it must be put into practice. Then Sainath said to him, "Whatever Papa has told you is correct, but when you put it into practice, then only your wishes will be fulfilled." Nishal Das Vichar Sagar was mentioned in Vadgaon. Sometime after repeated reading and after a certain lapse of time, how to put it into practice was taught in Shirdi. First, you must read the book carefully, then ponder upon it. With repeated readings, it will lead to total absorption in the subject. Just reading is not enough. It should be put into practice, otherwise it is like water on a duck's back. Mere reading is a waste of time till the meaning is not experienced, for which the blessings of a guru who has the knowledge of the Brahma is required. Mere bookish knowledge is futile. A simple story depicting the meaning will bring out the importance of faith, which is most essential for attaining the goals of life. Listeners should listen to it for their benefit. Once a resident of Pune, whose name was Anantrao Patankar, who had developed urge for Sai darshan, came to Shirdi soon. He had heard all the Vedas and read the original Upanishads along with the contemporaries, but his mind remained always restless and peace of mind eluded him. When he had taken Sai Samartha's darshan, Patnakar's eyes were rewarded. After bowing down to his feet, he worshipped him with ritualistic accuracy. Afterwards, with folded hands, he sat in front of Baba, very close to him. Anantrao, who looked very lovingly, asked him with extreme humility, "I have read many books, including the Vedas, the Vedangas, and Upanishads. I have listened to the holy Shastras and Puranas, Yet, why is my mind so despondent? I now feel that whatever I have read has been wasted. I think that even the illiterate devotee is better off than me. All my study of books, learning of Shastras is waste. All this bookish knowledge is futile as long as my mind remains unsteady. Oh, how empty is the effort I have made over the study of etymology. To what purpose is the japa and mantra which does not give peace of mind? How will I then ever acquire the knowledge of Brahma? By word of mouth, I have heard that by Sai's darshan all worries are removed, and that you show the right direction even in your humorous talk very easily. Therefore, Maharaj, treasure trove of authorities, I have reached your feet. Give me your blessings, by which I may have peace of mind." Upon which Maharaj told him a humorous parable by which Anantrao was satisfied and enjoyed the fulfillment of his learning. Those few words are the entire sense of knowledge. I will tell you that story. Be ready to hear it. It is humorous but meaningful. Who can disregard such words? Baba said in reply. Once a merchant came along, and at that time a horse passed 9 balls of stone in front of him. The merchant was very efficient. He immediately took off his wrap and spread it out, collected all the balls and tied a knot, and was able to achieve peace, which was able to achieve concentration of mind. What has Sai Samartha said? What could be its meaning? Why the collection of these told by the merchant? He did not understand anything. Thinking thus, Anantrao came back and related the conversation from the beginning to the end to Calcut, and said, "Who was the merchant? Who was the purpose of those balls of stool? Why was number 9 mentioned? Please reveal the meaning to me." Dada, what kind of riddle is this? I find myself incompetent to solve it. Tell me something which will open Baba's heart clearly to me in plain words. Dada said, "I too do not understand. Baba's talk is always of this kind. But I will tell you whatever I am able to understand as he inspires me. The horse is God's grace. This is how the puzzle of the ninefold devotion could be explained. Without devotion, one cannot have union with God, and knowledge will not be acquired. First, listening. Second, singing the Lord's praises aloud. Third, remembering Lord Vishnu. Fourth, serving at his feet. Fifth, offering prayers. Sixth, bowing down before him. Seventh, being humble. Eighth, developing affection. And ninth, surrendering the Atma. These are the 9 ways of devotion. With full faith, even if one of these ways of devotion is practiced, Sri Hari, who longs for devotion, will appear in the home of the devotee. Chanting of the Lord's name, practice of austerities, keeping of vows, practicing yoga, learning of Vedas and Upanishads, abundance of metaphysical knowledge and its various explanation. All this is a shame without faith. There is no need to be well versed in Vedas, nor any need to be famous as a scholar. It is neither necessary to sing the praises of God without feeling. Only the loving sentiment of devotion is essential. Consider yourself to be the merchant and grasp the significance of that transaction. When the flag of devotion in the form of ninefold bhakti flies high, then the creation of knowledge will be pleased. When the horse passed the 9 balls of stool, the merchant eagerly went forward to collect them. Similarly, the ninefold devotion, when adopted, gives complete peace of mind. Only that will give stability to the mind, develop affection for every being, for which seriousness of mind is necessary. Otherwise, waywardness is inevitable. This is what Guru Raya said with love. Next day, when Anantrao went to bow down at Sai's feet, he was asked, "Did you gather up the balls of stool?" Anantrao then prayed, "Have mercy on this humble devotee." Then they would be collected effortlessly. Otherwise, can one gather such great objects easily? Then Baba blessed him and assured him with the words, "May there be well-being." Anantrao was pleased and enjoyed bliss. Now, another short story. Listen to it respectfully. You will come to know about Baba's omniscience and his endeavor to guide towards the divine path. Once a lawyer came and went to the masjid. The moment he arrived, he took Sainath's darshan and bowed down to his feet. He then gave dakshina without being asked and went and sat nearby. He felt like listening to Sai's conversation with respect. Baba then turned his face and uttered words which were meant for the lawyer. The words pierced his heart and the lawyer was repentant. What fraud people are! They touch my feet, offer dakshina also, and abuse me in the heart of hearts. How queer are their ways. Having heard this, the lawyer kept quiet, but he fully understood the significance. He realized the words were meant for him only. He sensed the words penetrated deep into his mind. Later on, when he went to the Wada, he told Dikshit that Baba's cutting words had hurt him, but they were true. As soon as I arrived, he fired me, but that was a kind of a warning to me that I should never indulge in mocking or backbiting anybody. As our Munsif was not keeping good health and he was restless, he took leave from the office and stayed on peacefully here to improve his health. While we were in the chamber of the lawyers, the discussion turned around the Munsif, and though we were not directly concerned, conjectures were made. Without medications, just by following Sai, can the physical ailment be cured? Does it benefit him who has risen to the status of Munsif to behave in this superstitious way? While he was being thus revealed, Sai was also belittled. I was also party to a small extent to all this, and that fault of mine was pointed out by Baba. It was not a scolding but a blessing in itself. One should not unnecessarily participate in useless discussion, malgi, or criticize others and pass bitter remarks behind the backs of people, and should refrain from indulging in these bad habits. Besides, this proof that even if there is a distance of 100 kos, Sai is omniscient and knows the heart of every person. Moreover, one more Matter became clear that intervening hills and mountains could not hide anything from Sai. Securely hidden secrets were all open to him. Be it so. From that day onwards, the lawyer decided that in future he would never criticize or utter ill words. That was his vow. Whenever and whatever one does cannot remain unknown to Sai became a firm conviction. The bad habit was given up. He became conscious of doing good deeds because he knew that Sai, as it were, was watching him from all sides, and who can be capable of deceiving him. He was thoroughly convinced of this. Though the story concerns the lawyer, it was meaningful in all respects at all times and for everybody. The lawyers, the listeners, the speakers, and all the devotees of Sai should also take the same vow. I truly pray thus. When the cloud of Sai's grace showers upon us, all we will be content. There is no doubt about this. All those who are thirsty will quench their thirst. Inexplicable is Sainath's greatness. Unfathomable is the meaning of his stories. Boundless are the limits of his biography. He is the incarnation of the Supreme Brahma. Now listen to the story in the next chapter. O you listeners who have faith with respect, it will fulfill your desires and give peace of mind. Sai Samartha knows the future of miseries in the lives of his devotees. He wards them off casually, joking and laughing. In the course of a light conversation, the devotee Hemat surrenders to Sai. Now, the present narration is complete. The next story deals with the removal of difficulties of the devotees. How Sai, the ocean of compassion, is aware of the terrible difficulties to befall his devotees in the future and how he removes them by giving a timely warning. May there be well-being. This is the end of the 21st chapter of Shri Sai Samartha Satcharitra, written by the devotee Hemad Pant, implied by the saints and virtuous people called bestowing grace. This is offered to Shri Sadguru Sainath. May there be auspiciousness.